Big Ed has taken reality stars turning into celebrities next level. I mean, yeah, we got the Kardashians, but they had money and Kim's tape was leaked by her own mother. It's just not that authentic. This man, Ed, he was literally just a regular man looking for love, and after appearing on 90 Day Fiance, he's turned himself into a brand. Whether you love him or hate him, Big Ed is taking advantage of his 15 minutes, and I won't lie, I gotta say he's doing everything right. At least to keep the people talking. As we know, Ed has become known for his insane moments on this show, and although he and Rose have since split, well, we gotta keep talking about Ed here. Today on InformOverload, we're counting down the top 10 insane Big Ed moments from 90 Day Fiance. What's going down, guys? Welcome back to IO. I'm your host for this one, Jared Bronstein, and today we are talking about the one, the only, the man himself, Big Ed. As always, stick around till the very end for some bonus content, and follow the IO on Instagram. I called it the IO. I meant to say the official IO Instagram page. Guys, it's like, I don't even watch it. I can't even tell you what time it is. The point I'm trying to say is to go follow IO on Instagram. We post some newsworthy posts on there. They may not get a full-length featured video, so be sure to follow us on there as well. For now, let's get right into it. Starting us off with number 10, his hair treatment. Now, you've probably seen the memes, or the videos, or at least the jokes about Ed putting mayo in his hair. It's really not a joke, though. It seems the clip shared by the official TLC YouTube page is what would first bring light to this, shall I say, unique beauty trend. Posted on February 23rd and currently sitting at 2.5 million views, the 1 minute 9 second clip previewed what was to come in a future episode. More specifically, it shows Ed actually dipping a spatula into a jar of mayonnaise before lathering and massaging it into his scalp. While he's doing so, he explains that, quote, "Since I met Rose, I want to look young for her. So I've been dyeing my hair and it irritates my scalp. So I found out that mayonnaise makes it smoother and less dry. I'm self-conscious of my physical appearance because Rose is 31 years younger than me. I smell like an egg salad sandwich, but it really works. I just want to look young for Rose." Like they say, anything for love, right? Now on to 9, the time he told Rose he was old enough to be her father. For those of you who don't know, Ed is 54 and Rose is 23. And according to Ed, when they first met online, after falling in love of course, he told her straight up that he was old enough to be her father. But Rose's response was probably the best part about the entire situation. As Ed explained on an episode of the Nighttime Show podcast, I quote, "The first conversation we had was, 'Look, Rose, I'm 54. I'm old enough to be your dad.' And she was like, 'Well, you're actually 1 year older than my dad.' And I'm like, 'Oh my god, so great, let's just be friends.' And she's like, 'No, I'll never forget that. You know, age is just a number. I never thought of her as this young girl. She just became this single mother that I wanted to help.' I will say, guys, yes, age is just a number, and truthfully, I really don't care about their age gap. What I do have a problem with, however, is the fact that he told the woman he was looking to marry that he is old enough to be her father. It's like there's just certain things that should be left unsaid, and that's probably one of them. Now on to number 8, lying about his height. In a confessional, which is apparently what it's called when the reality stars talk directly to the camera in another room. You guys know what I'm talking about. In one of those things, Big Ed admits that he lied to Rose about his height, telling her he is 5'2" when in fact he is 4'11". Now, being someone who is actually 5'8" and 3/4", but goes around telling everyone I'm 5'9", I understand why Ed did what he did. Still, I'm only rounding up like a 1/4 inch, and this man's adding 3 inches. I do this. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna joke about it. To add insult to injury, when the two officially met at the airport, one of the first things Rose said to Ed was, "You're short to me." There's also the fact that he lied about wanting a vasectomy, even though he knew Rose wanted to have another child. Seems like from the start, this wasn't going to end well. Now moving on to number 7, showering with Rose's dad. After taking a trip to see Rose and her family in the Philippines, Ed found himself bathing with her father. It's no secret Ed experienced an extreme culture shock visiting Rose's home, but the shower scene is really what stole the episode, it seems. After explaining in an interview with ET how awful their living conditions were, Ed explained he woke up and immediately wanted to shower. He went on to say, "I wake up and I'm already miserable, and then I'm like, I need to go take a bath. I didn't even know where the bath was." And then sure enough, we're going by her dad's room and then he's like, "Hey, I want to bathe with you." I'm like, "Okay." So we walk another 6 feet to this 50-gallon drum of water, and hence the bath scene with her dad. I'm dropping the soap, it's surreal. Rose is sitting there hosing me off, it is freaking freezing. The water was actually really cold. Again, I feel the man's pain. Cold showers are very hard. But for some reason, watching him shower with Rose's father was just hysterical, especially when he first realizes how cold the water really is. Now at 6, $5,000 in gifts. Early on in the show, Ed actually admits that he spoils those he has feelings for. More specifically, he admits to those watching the show that within 3 months of meeting Rose online, he'd purchased about $5,000 worth of gifts for her. At first, this led some viewers to the conclusion Rose is simply going to be with Ed for his money, but it turns out Ed may have been lying. Are we really all that surprised at this point, guys? Since the two have split, Rose has actually come out saying that the only gifts she received from Ed were a set of bra and panties. She's even gone as far as accusing him of faking to be into her just to get notoriety from being on the show. Halfway now on our list at number 5, Eds Nikes. Going back to his time spent in the Philippines, Ed and Rose would visit a pig farm where Rose's father works and lives. However, it seems Ed wasn't having as much fun as those watching him struggle were. Aside from the fact that he put plastic bags to cover his Nike shoes, his attempt at feeding the pigs was just as wacky. Ed explained, "I was just irritated because everybody had these nice boots on except for Rose and I. I ended up slipping and falling into pig crap and the food went all over the pigs. Then again, I won't lie, if I had some nice kicks, I wouldn't want to get them muddy either, but couldn't he have just, gone out to buy a pair of boots?" Because realistically, the plastic is what caused him to slip in the first place. Now at number 4, accusing Rose of scamming him. Again, during their time in Rose's native country, the two went shopping. But after Rose grabbed for Ed's wallet and seemed to spend his money quite frivolously, he started to show some concern, explaining, "I'm not comfortable with Rose grabbing my money because that's not what you do. I think it's borderline, inappropriate. And I already have questions about her sister because she asked me for money. I don't want to believe that this could just be a scam, but I don't know if Rose is in on it or not." Truthfully, I don't think Rose is in it for the money, but when she saw how Ed was in person, including the things he said to her, well, I wouldn't feel bad if he was being taken for a ride. And speaking of things Ed said to Rose, well, as you can imagine, those are going to be our final 3 on today's list. But I mean, after all the lying, aside from the hype, the things that he said to her, I would probably, take him for a ride too, because just doesn't seem like a good guy. Now at number 3, the time Ed told Rose to shave her legs. After the two appeared to have some intimate off-camera time, Ed could be seen asking Rose for a kiss. She tells him that she doesn't like the feeling of his beard, claiming it irritates and hurts her face. Ed apparently saw this as an opportunity to strike a deal with his wife-to-be. Although it seems he kind of knew the response he would get, because anytime he started off saying anything with, "Don't be mad at me, but," odds are you're gonna piss the person off. So to no surprise, when Ed told Rose he'd shave his beard if she shaves her legs, she wasn't very happy. But she clearly wasn't a fan of the beard, so she reluctantly agreed and headed to the shower to start shaving. In the confessional, Ed explained, "Leg hair just seems kind of less feminine for a woman. Yeah, I don't like it. It's gross." On to number 2, when he told Rose her breath was bad. Remember when we spoke about the gifts he bought Rose? Well, aside from the bra and panties, he also bought her a little oral hygiene set of his own. As he hands her each gift, if you'd call it that, he names what they are, starting with the mouthwash, the cute toothbrush, as he put it, and the toothpaste. After giving Rose what Ed likely thinks are gifts, he straight up told her that her breath is not pretty. Obviously, Rose responded with a negative reaction once again because, well, who does that? Ed explained to viewers, "One of the first things I noticed even at the airport was her breath, but I didn't know how to bring it up, and I don't think she realizes it, but I do." However, it seems Rose had an explanation for her breath, telling Ed she has an ulcer, before walking away. Ed tried to cover himself, telling Rose, "I love you," to which she replied, "You're ugly." Now we've gotten to the top spot, ladies and gentlemen, the most insane Big Ed moment from 90 Day Fiance, number 1, asking her to take an STD test. It seems this is really one of the first clips from the show that would send Ed and Rose into reality stardom. After telling Rose that he no longer wants to focus on her past, specifically referring to the fact that he was concerned whether or not Rose was friends with any exes on social media, Ed put his focus elsewhere, making sure the girl he's sleeping with is disease-free. Now, I think it's somewhat of a normal thing to ask your partner to get a test, just to be safe, especially early on in a relationship. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that, I guess, guys. However, there's a time and place, and you should be willing to get a test as well, assuming there's mutual respect between both partners. Ed disregarded all of that when he not only proposed the idea to Rose while they sat down at a restaurant, but also refused to take one himself. Rose told Ed how she was not only disappointed, but also offended, admitting in the confessional to viewers that she was actually really hurt. Ed, however, stood his ground, telling viewers he needs to make sure the girl he's with isn't getting around. Still, that doesn't excuse not only where and how he asked, but also the fact that he's refusing to get one. And I just want to clarify, guys, it's not like the first thing on my head, but I don't know, if I start seeing somebody and they tell me that they had slept with somebody like a month before seeing me, I would just be like, hey, just to make sure, I'll take one too. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm weird. I am weird. And there you guys have it for the top 10 insane Big Ed moments from 90 Day Fiance. Let me know your thoughts and which one of these you think is the craziest in the comments below. For now, let's reply to some comments from the video. We need to talk about Khloe Kardashian. True Dat said, "This same background makes Jared look like Jesus, but Charlotte looks like she's time traveling." Well, technically speaking here, if I look like Jesus and Charlotte's like a time traveler, technically we both could be time travelers. I could just be a time traveling Jesus and Charlotte could just be a time traveler. Just saying. Annie_525 said, "Nowadays, all it takes is one selfie to expose anyone." It's true. That's why I don't, actually that's not true, I edit my pictures on Instagram. But I stopped because what's the point? Like, I have nothing to hide, guys. This is what I look like. Look, this. Even when I do edit the pictures on Instagram, I literally just like make it a little bit brighter. Edit. Nisreen YM said, I think she did it deliberately so people talk about her. That's actually possible. I mean, again, like I said at the beginning of this one, the whole, you know, Kim and her mom releasing the tape and stuff. So, you know. But yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Really hope what I said about that whole like beginning a relationship, asking someone to take a test doesn't come off the wrong way. I don't want you guys to think I'm like a piece of trash. It was more so just like a safety thing, I guess. Maybe I'm just dating the wrong girls. I'm kidding. All my ex-girlfriends are great. I'm not trying to take any of them, you know. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. I'm Jared Bronstein. Bye. As we know, Ed has become known for his insane moments on this show, and although at first this led some viewers to, she's even gone as far as accusing him of faking to be an, she's even gone as far as faking him, she's even gone and seemed to spread his money, not spread. But after Rose grabbed for Ed's wallet and seemed to Rose grabbed for Ed's wallet and seemed to spread, why did I put spread and now I'm saying spread. But after Rose grabbed for Ed's wallet and seemed to spend